The World Cup is at the business end of the competition. Giants have been knocked out. There's a lot to reflect on. Africans have made history. So it's a lot to digest today on Scorecard. My name is Benjamin Nketia. Thank you out there for joining us on the show. Today my good friends are here with me. Daniel Krati, Coach Christopher Nimley will help us to make sense of exactly everything that has been happening this particular World Cup. From Brazil getting dumped out by Croatia, was it England missing out on the semi-finals through a hurricane penalty miss, or was it Cristiano Ronaldo suffering against his own coach and also against the low block of the Atlas Lions of Morocco? There's a lot to talk about on the show. Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll get into some highlights, we'll get into some World Cup action. It's interesting, and it's Scorecard. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Guys, welcome to the show.
We missed you.
And you're welcome back.
Charlie, thank you.
That was a beautiful experience, isn't it?
No, Charlie, Qatar nice rough.
Yeah.
See, it was nice. Like, when you wake up in the morning, right, fourth floor, very top floor, if you just gaze on Doha, I say, man,
Wow. This is Doha.
Yeah, Charlie, beautiful Doha.
Yeah.
Charlie.
I saw one of your pictures where you were in your very neat top with your decent tie. You had just posed like that. And I said, damn, man, that's my boss.
Oh, come on, man.
I said, damn, Mr. Nketia, that.
Yeah, Charlie, Doha nice.
He's sitting in a very good cushion chair. The chair is very relaxing.
Really sweet.
I said, hey.
Charlie, there's a lot of things Ghana can learn from Qatar. You know, I say the World Cup hasn't even ended, but I can tell you that, look, they've hosted probably the best World Cup there.
Yeah, man.
A one city World Cup, man, I don't think you can do better than that.
Look, everything,
Yeah,
the same thing.
everything
If you
is-
finish this game, no, you can walk to this game.
Exactly, you know, and
beautiful.
the transportation is free. That's the best part about
Free?
it. Yeah, it's free. The transportation is free for journalists and for tourists who are attending the World Cup. So you can just jump on a train, hop to the next park, finish, go to the next fun park. It's just been a brilliant experience, honestly.
Wow.
They've hosted an amazing tournament. Like some of the stadia, when you see them, like they actually built this thing. They built this thing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't even look like something that can be built. It's crazy.
Wow.
Like that's how well they've actually hosted this tournament.
Yeah, the container one. How really is that stadium?
No, they've actually finished dismantling it. They finished, I think, yesterday.
Oh?
Yeah, they've
So
taken
taking it down.
Yeah, they've taken it down. They've taken it down.
Are
So
they bringing it to
they're-
Ghana?
So I'm not sure who won the bids. There was a bidding process. So you're supposed to bid, and then you'd get, I think, 20,000 seats out of the number they were given out until it got to a certain number. I think they want to keep it at 30,000, I believe. But there are a host of nations that were bidding. I think Ghana was involved. My intelligence says we fell along the way. But I think a few nations will be getting some parts of Stadium 974. But it's basically like their industrial districts, right? So that was like their homage to their industrial
to
district.
more or
So
less
if it was in Ghana, that would be like Tema industrial
Tema
area,
industrial,
sort of.
that's
So yeah, they built it with containers just to signify what it meant. But some of the grounds were absolutely lovely. I went to Education City, so they have like a host of universities, educational institutions. They have a golf course and stuff in there. Then they have the stadium in there. I think they have a library in there. They literally have almost every book in the world in that building. Like Qataris are serious people. Like I won't even lie to you. Like I think they felt as if they had too much potential not to be talked about by the rest of the world. And so this World Cup was sort
Really-
of like
let's go show
it was like their
ourselves.
coming out party. You know, it was an absolutely mind-blowing experience. Right from the airport, Charlie, they go show you say you are in Qatar. Like, you know, everything branded World Cup, from plane personnel to airport personnel to Charlie. And our Ghanaians are out there in their numbers, you know.
Charlie.
Support staff for transportation and things. Charlie, they do well. But back to the football. Quarterfinals has been dramatic. I know the Moroccans will be dramatic because there are a lot of them in Qatar. I think a lot more also join during the World Cup. But let's start off with, guys, what has struck you so far? Daniel, let me start off with you. Big matches have been played, big surprises, big heartbreaks. Which one has stuck out for you so far?
The fact that I probably witnessed Cristiano Ronaldo's last ever appearance at the World Cup. It was very emotional. From the moment he came on, I was watching the game, but anytime he touched the ball, my mind went back to 2006 to 2010 to 2014 to 2018, just taking me through a journey, the goals he scored, the moments he's given. And when the final whistle went, yes, I'm African, but it was very heartbreaking to see him walk off in the manner in which he was walking off. And we followed what has happened this season. He's left Manchester United. We don't know the club side he's going next. And just to think that this could probably be the last, it was honestly very, very, very emotional to me. For me, I struggled to sleep yesterday. I kept on playing back moments in the game over and over again as I was lying there in bed. I woke up very early today. I couldn't step out. I couldn't even go to church today. It was that painful. But
appreciation of the good.
Look, he's done it all. He's the reason why I started supporting Manchester United. He's the reason why the game of football has become so dear to me. And every week when I get the opportunity to watch him, he just puts a smile on my face. Win or lose, he's it. And look, it's been an amazing journey for him. A career that, at the start of it, I never thought it would be this good. He's put himself at the top of every single goal-scoring record that there is. And he's the guy. For me, you know me, he's the greatest of all time for me. The joy he has given, every single time I watch Ronaldo, I'm happy. And just the fact that this could be the last. Sometimes it will take a while for it to settle down, but salute to the greatest of all time for me, Cristiano Ronaldo. It's been a pleasure watching him over and over. As for the World Cup, he said it himself that this is probably the last. I don't expect him to come back at 42. So it's a beautiful journey, amazing journey. He has etched his name in football history. And he is, for me, he is the guy at the top of it all, Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's quite a tribute.
In my case, I'll wait for the other guy before I talk like he's speaking.
Why?
No, the other guy is my guy. So I'll wait since he's still involved. So I will not go down line. But without a doubt, I want to also pay tribute to Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, he played for my team, the team I support, Manchester United. And although I've always said that his legacy, one of the best. Whatever happened yesterday or whatever happened against the Moroccan national team was meant to happen because he was playing against the whole continent of Africa. We needed to make a statement, and Morocco made exactly that. For me, I think they have taken us where we've never been, and I know they are still thinking big. The game is being played on an Arab soil. Morocco, yes, an African country, but an Arab country. I still want to believe that they've got something a bit extra to offer. So I'll hold it there. But for me, my biggest, so far, my greatest joy in the tournament has been that of Argentina showing not too much of tactics, but ready to die, ready to fight, ready to do everything possible for that little man to win the World Cup. And they are 2 games away from doing so. I say so because when they won the Copa America, and the goalkeeper was interviewed, he said, that is done. The next ambition is to win the World Cup for Leo Messi. They are still enjoying it. I enjoyed that game against the Netherlands, how keenly contested it was.
The Netherlands came back from 2. That game was dead and buried.
We were watching the game with this man.
I remember on Friday, it was crazy. We'll get to that in a bit, but let's now get into the specifics. Let's get to Morocco versus Portugal. And that's where we start off. Morocco becoming the first ever African country to reach the semi-final at the World Cup. And they did it at the expense of Portugal. Now, if you know Portugal, their World Cup resume is not that great. Now, they haven't been to the semi-finals a lot of times themselves, but Morocco denied them once again. It was El Nesri or En-Nesyri, Sevilla target man, doing the damage for Morocco. Let's get to the highlights of that one. Cristiano Ronaldo left on the bench for Gonzalo Ramos once again. Portugal would eventually pay. All the drama was in that Morocco versus Portugal game. Coach, let me start with you. Let's analyze that goal that eventually did Portugal in. Cross comes in from the left-hand side. Ruben Diaz is caught between the goalkeeper and En-Nesyri. I mean, I thought that was a straightforward ball to deal with. Some way, somehow, they let the striker get to.
Okay, first of all, I will take it a bit backwards. If you look at the transition, Morocco eventually struggled to get the ball to the left-hand side. And I thought that, again, I questioned the selection of the Portuguese coach.
Okay.
In that position, I think he should have played William Carvalho. If Carvalho was the one involved in that tackle, he would have won the ball before the ball actually went to the left-hand side. So
team selection comes in.
Team selection comes in there. Eventually went to the left. And you could clearly see this Moroccan team are properly grilled, properly coached.
Yep.
They always play to their advantage. You see, if you're a footballing team, you should identify your strength and play accordingly. They know they've got a striker who is very big, who is very good in the air. So they wouldn't mind putting in all sort of crosses. The cross that came into the box wasn't a sort of level-headed cross. No. It was the sort of looping cross. Yep. They knew that if you give him that sort of opportunity, he will go for it. Now, when the cross was looped into the box, if you look at the Portuguese goalkeeper, the trajectory of the ball, he realized that his defender was not going to get the ball.
Ruben Diaz.
Ruben Diaz was virtually struggling. Because if you go back to the clip, if we could go back to the clip again,
I think we can probably get to that again.
He was struggling to even get off.
Now, there you have it.
You see, now I think the slow motion,
Diaz could not jump.
The slow motion will show it perfectly. If you look at, there you go. He was virtually backpedaling. Because you could clearly see that he was struggling, and he even impeded the goalkeeper, in my view. If only when he realized that he wouldn't get to the ball, if he had not backpedaled and just maintained his gravity position at the time, then the goalkeeper would have come in very brave and to maybe either pluck the ball or crash into the Moroccan attacker, who wouldn't have gotten a full blast of the ball into the back of the net. But hey, they didn't do that. For we the Africans, we are actually happy that actually ended up in the back of the net. Then after the goal, Portugal needed to respond. Then their coach, very experienced, but on the day, very inexperienced, felt that he should call on the GOAT himself. Go rescue the situation. For me, look, I hate coaches who don't do proper homework. The guy brought in to replace Ronaldo against the Swiss. That was his sort of game.
Yeah.
But against this Moroccan team, if I was the boss, Ronaldo starts. Why? Because you are playing against a team that sits very deep, so powerful in the air, so they will limit you to play on the ground. And if you look at Ramos, he wouldn't engage Sars, he wouldn't engage his defensive partner. He would rather show up and be part. So if you look at the game, everything that Portugal was doing was being done in front of the Moroccans. Yeah. It was Bruno Fernandes, João Felix. In fact, these two
kept passing the ball among each other.
Themselves.
Just circulated the ball.
They never had any target. But the moment Ronaldo got introduced in the game, then they started giving the Moroccans a bit of variation in what they would do. And once your opponent are not certain of what you will do next, then whatever you do becomes new to them. But at that moment, like I've always said, they were chasing the game. Look, truth be told, the Moroccans, determined, tactically very disciplined. The defensive line cover. Look, this guy, what's the name of their coach again? Regragui or something.
Regragui.
No, he's a proper coach. He's a proper coach. And what even got me on his side was when the red card came. The red card, 8 minutes to go, red card. Look at what he did. He just quickly stood up onto the touchline, did his gestures, got them to rearrange themselves, as if nothing has happened.
Yeah.
And they started dealing with the situation. They dealt with it until the end. We are so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. I believe that
consider just one goal all tournament. One.
They are the best team. That one was an own goal.
Yep.
And with their goalkeeper, I just hope
they've played, I believe, Belgium.
They've beaten Belgium,
Croatia,
Spain. They played Belgium, Croatia, Spain, and now
they beat
Portugal.
Canada. They've beaten Spain. They've beaten Portugal. You don't want to bet against them, isn't it?
That's remarkable. This is as difficult as a tournament path can get for you in a competition like this.
The next opponent is who?
Yeah.
The defending champions. But I'm knowing the Moroccans and knowing the Arabs. They'll be ready for the challenge.
That's almost like a rivalry game for them because a lot of them are French speakers, and so that will be interesting. But Daniel, quick thoughts on the Portugal side of things. This is probably Portugal's most important game in how many years, and Fernando Santos decides that he wants to stick with the hat-trick hero instead of...
It was a rookie mistake.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
A rookie mistake. And you see, coach has said it, but let me throw some more light into it. It's a World Cup. You go into every game with a different approach. If Fernando Santos had watched, and let me just say he was naive and he hadn't watched Morocco before, because that would be the only reason why he started with Goncalo Ramos. The game between Morocco and Belgium, the Belgians tried to pass them. You see, they're low block. They don't follow your runners when they drop deep. So spaces are not created. The only way you can put them under pressure is if you introduce a target man, a focal point there, and you encourage one-on-one battles with their center backs. Swing crosses and put pressure on them. Let the strengths of your striker and their defenders come one-on-one, and let's see who will win. Encourage those duels. Other than that, you are not going to be able to create anything. We saw Spain literally passed the ball around for 120 minutes and created nothing. Because you can't break them down. They don't follow you. And they don't get tired because they are literally just standing there waiting for you to come. So you don't start with Goncalo Ramos. In the game against Switzerland, the Swiss are also a very mobile team. There was a lot of space in the game to be exploited. So that is a different opposition. When you are going into this game, you know that you need to apply pressure to the Moroccan centre-backs. And even if you say you don't want to start Ronaldo, there was Andre Silva on the bench, somebody who can also give you that sort of dynamic. Not Goncalo Ramos. He can't start that game because he can't put any pressure. He's not going to win any one-on-one duel against size. He can't do it. And the other guy who is even taller and bigger than size. So he needed to start Cristiano Ronaldo. Not just the pedigree factor. And also because, look, if you talk about this pressing nonsense that they talk about Ronaldo, Morocco is not a team that is going to build from the back. They are not going to. So you don't.
Looking to counter-attack you.
You are the one going to have the ball. So you are not going to have to do a lot of pressing in the game. Secondly, another mistake was not starting William Carvalho.
That was huge.
William Carvalho.
In fact, that was the biggest mistake.
He dictates the game. He has better defensive awareness. 3 times better than Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves is a good player. But Ruben Neves will thrive against a team that is open. Against a team where he's not going to be under a lot of pressure. He's the one going to sit there. But you see, the awareness and the skill set of William Carvalho, he's so elite. He's one of the most underrated midfielders in the world.
He's very good.
He does his work and he does it so well. William Carvalho would literally have dictated, and that's what coach is saying. Look, if he was on the pitch, Morocco wouldn't have had the number of fast breaks that they did.
Not at all.
Because he slows down the game when it's supposed to be done. He speeds it up when it's supposed to be done. But if you watch the game, Portugal were literally trying to chase the game from the start. And it wasn't going to work until Cristiano Ronaldo came on, where the chances started happening. Why? Because now there was variety. You could swing crosses in, and he talks about the uncertainty. Now you don't know if Rafael Leao is going to cut in, he's going to try and shoot. You don't know if he's going to go for a cross. You don't know if he's going to lay it back for Bruno Fernandes. So there was so much variety there. But at that point in time, it was a bit too late. Had that pressure started from the start of the game, I feel it would have been a different story. But in saying that, look, coach will have to take the responsibility. I'm sure he'll step down after this, but he's already messed us up. This is Ronaldo's last World Cup and he's not coming back. But look, you also have to give credit to the Moroccans. They stuck to their guns and they've done what has worked for them. As coach has said, you identify your strengths and you play to it. You are not there to impress anybody. You are not at the World Cup to impress anybody. You are there to get your results. And it is not exciting attacking football that will get you your results. It is pragmatism. You look at the opposition, you figure out a plan that will be able to stifle them and how you are also able to capitalize on their weaknesses. And that is what Morocco have done throughout the competition. It is not by luck that they have gone through and the only goal they've considered is an own goal. Yes, they will face chances, but you also have a world-class goalkeeper who is there just in case that the 1 or 2 big chances that they create, he can also do his job. But it's been a collective effort for them, and they deserve every bit of what they are getting now. And as coach is saying, look, at this point, you really can't bet against them.
Nope.
Because the way they are set up, they're always going to invite the opposition to come. And they know how to frustrate you to the point where you become desperate. And just when you become desperate also, they have the guys up top there who can also punish you. So kudos to the Moroccans. They've done a brilliant job. It is not by luck. They deserve to be in the semi-finals of the World Cup. And as it stands, look, right now African can just dream. All we can do is to put our support behind them because they are very capable of going all the way.
Big surprise from Morocco. I mean, I wouldn't even say a surprise if you notice the pattern, but Portugal had more star power. In the end, star power meant nothing. Tactics meant everything. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll examine England. It was supposed to come home. Finally, it's... Charlie, let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about Harry Kane. Missed a big penalty. There's a lot to digest. Stay with us. Welcome back to Scorecard on Citi TV. Now, England also needed to overcome their rivals and their neighbours to be able to get to the semi-final. Gareth Southgate and his lads said they had been preparing for Mbappe for the last 2 years. 24 months. But it didn't really matter. In the end, England had 2 penalties on the day. They barely created anything proper from the game itself, actually. 2 penalties. Harry Kane scored 1 and missed a crucial one. Let's get to the highlights of that one. We'll come back in studio and we'll make some sense of it. Big penalty miss there by Harry Kane. Daniel, let me start off with you. Big game by France and England. The French didn't have to do too much. In the end, they looked like they could be dangerous whenever they wanted to. And I think that's what stood out the most for me. But England missed out through that Harry Kane penalty. Was it really down to the penalty, or did they really just not have enough on the day?
I think this game was fine margins. And frankly speaking, when I look at this game, I'll put it down on the players on the pitch more than the managers. I think England's game plan on paper, for me, I would have preferred if they started with the back 3. They didn't, but they seem to have contained the French, at least in the first half. That goal Tchouaméni conceded, scored against England. It was
out of nothing. Really.
Out of nothing, one of those things. But again, you can also see that you can't leave a player with that technical ability with so much space at the edge of the box. But they had covered the supposedly danger men in the game. Mbappe had a quiet game. Giroud had a quiet game. But once Tchouaméni scored, I like the way England responded. When they got the penalty, I thought they were on the team on top. But that is the thing. When England had their moments, they didn't take advantage. And the French pick their moments, and the way they managed the situations in the game was just brilliant, and that is why they are defending champions. They show the experience, they show that they've passed through these situations time and time and again. Let me talk about individuals. I think from the 2018 FIFA World Cup to the Euros till this tournament, I think Griezmann's performances are going a bit under the radar. He's so important to this French team. And not just the offensive work he does, the defensive work he does also for
his
for
transition as a player very remarkably.
It's crazy.
From Griezmann, the winger
to the striker, and now he's playing this sort of midfield role, like a connector between the midfield and the attack. And he's doing such a brilliant job. And for me, what I love about him is his positional awareness. He's been given this sort of free role. But when you are given the free role, where you are also shows the intelligence of the player. When he drifts out wide, he's supposed to be there. When he comes into the middle, he's supposed to be there. When he goes to the right-hand side, he's supposed to be there. He's not just strolling on the pitch doing nothing. Every move he's making is very calculated. And kudos to the manager for trusting him and giving him this role. And kudos to him also to embracing it and living up to the moment and doing exactly what he's supposed to do. But it hurts me for this English team because I feel like if they had played any other team, they would have qualified. It was just a French team that was a bit too experienced for them. And you can't overlook that penalty decision because, again, it was a major moment in the game. I feel England had the momentum. Had Harry Kane scored, I can bet
Somebody said that he had taken the first penalty. Maybe he should have given the opportunity to somebody else.
No. Those things hindsight. If you change it and the person misses, you go back and say, why did Harry Kane kick? So for me, I don't. But Laurie said something after the game, and I think it was a familiarity issue. Yeah. He knows the keeper. Once he had kicked it to one side.
Why the person was making that point.
Exactly.
You know him, you've taken the first one. Maybe it just helps to have a different spice. I don't know.
No, but you see, once he's taken it and he's gone to one side, the second one becomes very dicey. And I feel Harry Kane was going for power and trying to hit it at the high risk areas. And you see, once you hit the top corners, success rates, as we've seen the numbers throughout the competition, is 100%. So that's what he was trying to do. But at that point in time, your legs are wobbly, the pressure is high.
Too much power.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it happened to him, but it's better it happened to him than anybody else, because for me, I think he has the ability to come back even much stronger. And what he's done for England, I don't think anybody will be too hard on him for this particular moment. He's been a fantastic player for them. But look, France deserved it based on how they managed the moments in the game. And throughout the competition, that has been the telling factor. Your ability to pick moments. And we see it throughout we saw it in the Croatia-Brazil game. We saw it in the Netherlands and Argentina game. If you don't know how to manage the moments, and if you don't take advantage of your moments on top, you'll be found wanting.
Could just quick thoughts on the goals the French scored. So Tchouaméni first, I believe, from outside the box, and then Olivier Giroud sneaks in between the England centre house, heads the ball at close range. They clearly should have done something better with that.
So two things. If you go back to the first goal, that was the only time Kawaka went on the overlap and wasn't closer to Mbappe. So if you go back to where the move started, Mbappe was the one who picked up the ball. Kawaka had gone, and England had lost possession. And then you see, this French team, they are so good. Once they see the space that their danger man is ready to go,
little space they will punish him.
No two ways about it.
If we could just see that again.
So once they gave him the ball, it was what? Declan Rice stepping out of position.
And look at that again. So I think we'll get to the sequence that gets to the first goal.
Okay, Declan Rice stepping out of position to come and see whether he could dispossess Kylian Mbappe. He didn't do that. The ball went wide because Declan Rice, you see, he had stepped out of position here. He was on the recovery. So look, he has lost the sight of what? Tchouaméni. Now he had gone to
he was just
follow
alone.
The ball. Yes.
Acres of space.
There you go. There. So if
but that's still a difficult shot to hit.
To execute. But the bottom line, if Kawaka was around and he had followed Mbappe on the transition, Rice would have been very free and would have seen Tchouaméni and would have closed him down. So that was the second. That was the first goal. Now on that second goal, look, you have to blame the two centre backs of England, and most importantly, you have to blame John Stones. It was a corner kick that got headed away and got recycled to the left. The moment Griezmann turned onto his left foot, you see, as a centre back, the France team had only one target man, and that is Olivier Giroud. So if you look at the position of Giroud,
with three centre halves around him.
But he was in between John Stones and Maguire. For Maguire, at the time, he was taking care of Rabiot, who is also another very good player in the air. So Maguire had his marker, so he had to now go and step in for a very flat-footed John Stones. If you look at John Stones, look, he didn't even jump.
Nope.
That was what made it so serious, and in my case, so easy for Olivier Giroud. Look, Giroud's power when it comes to heading, you don't present,
especially at the near post. I think he's literally near post, far post.
He will slaughter
his thing.
He will slaughter. And for me, look, I think last week when we did the show, I did predict here that I don't see the English going past France. There's no way to beat the French team, and the French team have shown. But hopefully on Wednesday, the African thing will do their thing.
Big game coming up. Let's get to another big game full of drama, full of controversy. The referee took center stage in this one. Argentina versus the Netherlands. It's as classic as World Cup games get, and this one was just another classic for the history books. Louis van Gaal had been talking a good game before the match. Messi was having none of it. There's been a lot of back and forth following this game. Let's get to the highlights. It ended 2-2 during regulation. It went to penalties, and Argentina and Emiliano Martinez triumph. Let's watch this. So it was Virgil van Dijk missing a big penalty. Emiliano Martinez coming up huge for Argentina. Coach,
so many things.
Your people are in there. Your people are still rallying to the trophy.
So many things to learn from this game. Quality coaching, bad coaching. Everything was in there. I think when Argentina took that 2-0 lead, there was quality coaching from Van Gaal. When he introduced, you see, he clearly knew of the disadvantage in the Argentina backline. He knew what they don't have. And he had people who could go and exploit that.
Vegas
and Luke de Jong.
And then Luke de Jong. So
6-7, 6-5.
These are the people I like. This is what you call coaching. The in-game thinking, the in-game coaching.
I particularly love the set piece to score, to equalize.
Absolutely brilliant. And then this is where I said there was some bad coaching on the part of Argentina. When Van Gaal introduced those two tall guys, instead of Argentina to put the ball on the turf and control the game, they were rather ballowing the ball. And I was like, look, where is the in-game management from the other manager? Because if you give the ball to the Dutch, they take it wide and then
cross the ball in.
So that they should have done, because that was what they did in the extra time. Extra time, Argentina from nowhere. And I was asking myself, but they could have done this and prevented us that extra 30 minutes. So that was bad coaching on the part of the Argentine manager. But again, this, as if the Dutch didn't understand or they didn't know much about Argentina when it comes to set pieces, penalty shootout. Because they won the last Copa America, virtually winning 2 penalties.
2014, they were knocked out by Argentina on penalties.
So I thought that.
And Van Gaal said he said it himself that they practice penalties over and over again.
No, but
he said again, he said something that was striking for me. He says you can practice your run up and you can practice your kicks, but you cannot practice the pressure.
No, but
if you have pressure, you will eventually miss the penalty.
It's true, but I think they could have also done something to prevent that in that extra time. Rather than the extra time, he got them to come back. I was asking myself, but some few minutes ago, you were pushing these guys back.
Yeah.
Why have you withdrawn your top players?
Sometimes it's mentally draining to come back.
No, it is like he was now playing for the penalty.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand.
That's why I said that they were.
You think they should have gone on to finish on the game?
You see, it is good to stay in for as long as you can, but there has to be a decider. You ask yourself, what is the best way to decide this game in my favor?
Especially when you've come from 2 goals down to momentum.
And historically, they've been involved in 7 penalties already at the World Cup level.
Yeah. They have a very poor record.
So the records, the history didn't favor you. So look, but at the end of the day, I think Argentina showed character. They were ready because look, psychologically, any other team would have just gone down after that last-minute equalizing goal. But for them to have showed up in that extra time on the front foot, pushed the Dutch backwards, eventually, when it got to penalties, they had the better takers. And their goalkeeper, the history is there. He would say, maybe
brilliant penalties.
If I know the next game against Croatia will not go to penalties, but if it were to go,
are you sure? People said the same thing about Brazil, Croatia.
No. It will not get there.
We'll talk about that in a bit. Just hold your horses there. Let's take a final break. When we come back, we'll get into Croatia, Brazil, and then we'll touch briefly on the semi-final matchups before we call it a night. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. We're on our final leg, and it was Brazil hoping to make it to the semi-final of the competition. They were hoping to, get into that little thing with Argentina. Hopefully, they would meet them. It was the Argentine fans laughing after Brazil were knocked out of the competition. It was absolutely hilarious. In the end, it was Luka Modric and the Croatians who had the last laugh in this one. They went all the way to penalty shootout, and they say you don't want to take the Croats to a penalty shootout. Let's get the highlights of that game, and then we'll come in studio and nothing like penalty shootout drama, especially when you are a neutral. Just sit back and enjoy. That's how I was enjoying it. Coach, in the end, Brazil not having enough to do away with Croatia. I thought that was appalling for me. They didn't create enough on the day. They allowed the Croats to dictate the game and eventually take it to penalties.
I saw it a bit differently. I think the better team lost the game, in my view, because I think apart from the first 30 minutes where the Croats actually dominated without creating anything.
Their only shot on target was the shot that ended up
exactly.
in the back of the
I think Brazil did enough, in my view, to have won the game. The Croats goalkeeper had another wonderful day. But that Neymar goal deserved to be a match winner. Oh. That is where I turned to Tite and I said, come on, man. Look, before the Croatian goal, Brazil had the ball. The ball was with Neymar, Anthony. Anthony would do his thing, foul. You need that. Kill the steam, kill the tempo. Then all of a sudden, Casemiro and Fred joined Neymar and Anthony on that side, and they started popping the ball. You don't want to get Casemiro involved at that stage of the game. You need to restrict him. Because when they eventually lost the ball, both Fred and Casemiro, instead of being behind the ball, they were all in front of the counter-attack. And it became a 3v4 situation. If you are that, defensively, the shape was gone. All Perisic needed to do was to pick the right pass. The moment he did that,
I was just watching him the whole time.
yes,
Will
and
he
you
take
could
the
clearly see
right
that
cut back?
he was watching, he
Yeah.
was waiting, and you felt that Thiago Silva, is it Danilo or the left back, the Juve ball, Alexandro, and then Marquinhos, they had marked the first three Croatian players that came straight into the
There's
box.
a fourth.
So
open.
there was the fourth guy who was running, but he was in front of Casemiro. If you go back to the clip
Yeah.
again, you could see Casemiro now
Just
coming.
trying to
You
catch
could
up
clearly
with
see
him.
that he was out of position. And fortunately for them, there was that wicked deflection that took the ball away. Alisson would have saved it. Because if you look at the strike, it wasn't a decent
Just
strike.
cannon off his thigh, and
then
that type of ball will always beat the
Will
goal.
always be the goalkeeper. So look, and once it got into penalties too. In fact, Brazil is a team you want to fancy on
win the
penalties.
penalties, yeah.
But
Croatia are
it
penalty
doesn't-
masters
but
themselves.
Croatia's them. I think they've won their
Last
three or
World
four.
Cup, yeah.
The one against
2018 World
England.
Cup.
Yep.
Round of 16
16
penalties.
penalties.
Quarterfinal
Quarterfinals,
penalties.
penalties. Yep.
Semi-final extra time. This one, round of 16 penalties. Quarterfinal
Quarterfinal.
penalties.
So,
So
you
the
don't
ball-
want to take the Croats to penalties.
Yeah, so-
you really don't.
I'm
They'll
sure
reach
the
the
little
final
man
with
would
time.
ensure that will not happen on Tuesday.
Daniel, just quick thoughts on the semi-finals. What are your picks? Morocco versus France?
Look, it's going to be extremely difficult. But I think it's down to an experienced team and a spirited team. A spirited team that knows that, you see, now they are not out of it. Even if they lose the game, they are not out.
Yeah.
So they'll play this game like it's the final. And I feel that's where the French need to be worried. But I feel that Giroud factor will make France. Morocco hasn't faced a team like France. Giroud is constantly going to be there, giving them a lot of pressure in the centre backs. And what has happened, I think Aguerd is injured. Saiz has also picked up an injury. So the Moroccans don't look too.
Their two first choice
their two
centre
first
backs.
choice centre backs are both injured. Hopefully Saiz will come back. But the way it was looking like, it doesn't look like it will be. He'll come back soon enough. So I think I'll fancy France.
You fancy France? Argentina, Croatia.
I think next week Sunday we'll have a final between Argentina and Morocco.
Argentina, Morocco final.
Yeah. Because look, for Morocco, I'm having that feeling.
You think they're going to go all the way?
Where the game is being played,
There's a spirit there for them.
there's a spirit there for them. That
I'll tell you something, right?
Look.
I'll tell you something. They are. I think they are literally the most Arabs in Qatar at
Because,
this point.
look,
There
as
are a
it
lot of
stands-
them there. A lot of them have come to join.
As
And
for-
games they won, right?
Yes.
They literally took over the whole
Yes.
city.
I saw
No,
Mbappe.
they took over the whole
He'll
city.
be in the battle with Hakimi. That one, I know is a 50-50 battle. Nobody will win that one. So draw. When you come to the left-hand side,
Yeah.
it is Dembele, in my view, who has to show up to get the French team to win. But as for the Griezmann movement, the Moroccan, they'll sit back.
They'll sit back, they don't
They'll
care.
come and move. If you move, we don't mind. Move. The block is
But
there.
the French have shown that they
And
can
then,
shoot from distance.
no, but the French problem is with Upamecano. When they commit, and if you watch Morocco, anytime they go on the counter attack,
Direct.
they're
Aggressive,
very
very
direct.
direct.
The boy in the number 8 shirt. What is the name?
Yeah.
Morocco.
Charlie.
I think he'll be. He's. I think he'll be a young player. He's
He's
so good.
so young, lanky, with
Lanky.
good legs.
He will
What
dribble
they
you
do?
right now.
He
He'll clear you right now. No.
I've forgotten his
Oh,
name.
I'm coming. I
What
know
position
the
are we
boys.
talking about here, right?
No, he's in the number 8 shirt. He's
I know
in the
the boy-
midfield
I know the boy you're
alongside
talking about.
Amrabat. And then
Unani.
Unahi.
If you don't have a technical eye, you will never notice him. He's the poison in the soup. And France, Chouameni
Yeah.
will have to see him come. If he doesn't see him come, they'll have issues. But look, I know as for Croatia, Argentina will deal with them. One thing that is for sure, we are not going to have a Farmers World Cup.
Oh,
What's the Farmers World Cup?
Having Croatia and France in the final again, back to back, NC, forget it. It will not happen. We describe some leagues as Farmers League. You want the World Cup to be described? The two teams who played in the final in 2018, they should come and play
they
again.
deserve it.
No, that's the Farmers World Cup. NC, forget it. FIFA themselves will not allow that to happen.
We'll see how that
We
plays
have
out.
to collect some 2 decent penalties for Messi. Collect and let's go forward.
I can't believe I'm hearing this.
I said 2 decent.
Two decent
Not
ones.
our 2 decent.
I hear
Collect
you.
and let's go
I
forward.
hear you. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Daniel. Hopefully, I don't know who you guys want to see in the final. I think France will be back in the final. I'm sorry. I love Morocco, but I want to be proven wrong. I won't see them in the final, but I think France will have too much for them. As for Argentina and Croatia, you all know where my vote is. Croatia making the final. Mark again. Let's see if it's a farmers final or not. But same time next week, we'll be back on your screens.